That's a fair enough take. I don't think You is the kind of show that, like, if you're not locked into it, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm being unnecessary.
But once you've started watching You and you're kind of engrossed in the world, what I think they could have done with season 5, there was another creator that kind of said it, who I met this week, and she was like, she wishes they had dived more into his relationship with his son, and how, rather than like repeating the whole, oh, you meet a woman, love her, kill her, or try to kill her, find another woman that you fall in love with, like dive into like the turmoil of being a father, not wanting your son to be like you and like you. Yeah. Use it's a passable series, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely.
It's not
possible.
bad.
It's not like we're not.
And the first 2 or 3, hey, Lover's a great character, man. Lover's a great character. But let's get Hussam involved in this conversation so I don't feel too left out. He was left out of the previous episode, or the episode coming out after this, shall I say.
So are you as well.
So was I.
Yeah.
So was I.
You guys are definitely gonna.
Yeah, I've been replaced as a host.
It's over.
The hostess with the mostess in Kubanza, aka Manny, aka Kubanza. I took my place. I don't know how to feel about it. He's gonna be the host going forward. Let's see. We are the Post Credit Scene Podcast, a 14 HQ original lovers of film, TV and theatre. No Basola today. So Josh, sorry pal. Sorry about that. She'll be back in 2 weeks' time. She's on annual leave, vacation.
Sure.
Shout out to Bisto. She's a hard worker. Well, sometimes. So yeah, shout out to Bis. And Manny's not here either because he don't give a at Marvel. I feel like anytime there's a Marvel topic, it's just going to be us three and a guest, potentially at worst. Because Manny just don't give a shit. The problem is, I kind of need Manny here to like counteract his love for Marvel, but it's not going to happen. So it has to be one of us two, Jason. Do you think we can do that?
Oh, 100%.
The problem is, I actually fucking like Thunderbolts, so we can't. But yeah.
This is going to be a Marvel Glaze episode.
It might just be a Marvel-ish, glazy-ish episode.
But not too much now. Not too much now.
We still got the wider Marvel problems too, you know.
There is some wider problems to address. I mean, there could be a film in 2 months' time which completely counteracts everything we've spoken about today.
Or obliterates our even better. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, is it? Yeah. Who knows?
yeah.
Alright.
How do you feel about Fantastic Four? Before we get into Thunderbolts, off the back of seeing Thunderbolts, how do you feel about Fantastic Four? I feel a bit more unsure now after seeing Thunderbolts, which is mad to say.
I've never been more gassed in my life.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna hold you. I think when, especially like
the stinger,
the what?
Post-credits.
The post credits.
The PCS.
There you go. Like when you see that, like I was up on my chair. I was like, oh, because
now people gas that scene though.
People have gassed that.
They said it's like the most, you know, all like the people that, you know, the people that first come out of the premiere screenings and that.
But they do that a lot though. That's the one thing I.
That post credit scene was calm. It was good because it was
good post credit, but it wasn't.
It was
like,
good. It was good.
Guys, contextually, it was fantastic.
Shut up, man, you dickhead.
Come on.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I didn't mean no lie. But like,
you could tell you didn't mean it because like if he'd meant to,
he would have smiled more.
But no. Like I genuinely think it was pure genius. Like and the way it was done. Okay, obviously like with if they didn't do the chair thing and etc. and you know all these you know little like bits and bobs, right? Okay, and there was a lot of interviews. Okay, with Feige, he's speaking a lot more recently, you know, about like the tie to Doomsday and stuff, and you know the cast are being a bit more shareable with their contractual you know situations and all that. So it all feels a little bit more open, which I think is nice. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a new strategy for Disney and Marvel. So I think this tied into that. Do you know what I mean? Okay, this new
It was a good.
Yeah, people obviously complain that it has spoiled the end of F4, right?
Not necessarily.
But I don't see why. I never expected F4 to win against Galactus.
Yeah.
I never. There wasn't one part of me that thought
I
they
don't
were
think, like, even
within
the
gonna
comics, win. Like, does Galactic ever lose? And if he does lose, he's not losing at the hands of Fantastic Four, as far as I remember.
No, it's mad because he's what above like a thing of same celestial being, right? Yeah. So
like he's a world eater.
He's literally a world eater, yeah. Which is funny because he doesn't actually eat worlds. Okay, he sucks their core, and then obviously the world then
explodes.
Exactly, yeah. So that's the theory behind it, innit? But like, yeah, I just think like. I never expected him to win because he's like a Thanos level threat, and that took in the comics, right? And then that took a whole bunch of Avengers to sort out. So then Howard, just a Fantastic Four team, who by the way have considerable powers, but not like
they're not beating Silver Surfer.
facts.
Like, first of all, let's get that out the way. Like, they're not beating Silver Surfer.
Yeah, so it's a
like,
difficult
it's hard to
one.
imagine them beating Galactus.
Yeah, and even if you look at the one that we did get in 2004, whatever it was, okay.
Early ones, I barely remember that.
When they fought, Galactus, the Cloud, it's awful. Okay, they made him a cloud. They made the whole. Anyways, all they done was kind of just like it was Silver Surfer that imploded himself into Galactus. So they didn't even beat him. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like I didn't expect them to win, and I knew that it was gonna transition into Doomsday or into maybe like a different film. And I like the fact that I think what's gonna happen is that they're gonna lose, and then basically while they are losing, they're gonna be forced into a portal, a multiversal portal, which will then take them to 616, and then that's where we are now. Okay. And then they will obviously deal with the Avengers Doomsday threat there, and then go from there. And then their motivation would be that they just lost their world.
You could argue there might be other motivations.
Oh, of course.
I don't want to get into spoilers. Well, obviously, Franklin, but yeah, we'll save that for another podcast. As I said, we are the Post Credit Scene Podcast, a 14 HQ original lovers of film, TV and theatre. Today I'm joined by Hussam and Jason. How do you guys do?
Good, man. Good. I heard the sun is like about to go. I think by the time this comes out, it'll be like 13 degrees, man, in LDN, if that's where you are listening. It's very upsetting, I can't lie. But it's been a good week, though. It's been hot, man. It's been sunny.
Oh, fantastic week.
No, it's 20 degrees. We're still good for now.
Yeah?
Yeah. 20 degrees. Bit cloudy, but 20.
All right, cool. Yeah, no. I've been good. Feeling spicy. For those who don't know, we usually record on a Sunday, and today we're recording on a Saturday, due to scheduling reasons. But everyone's in good spirits, man. It's been fun.
Jason?
Yeah, echoing a lot of the thoughts here.
Yeah, man.
Like excited to get into it, and yeah, I've got a lot to talk about this here, man.
Just had our fingers up, our pub quiz.
Pub quiz, yes, yeah.
Super
for sure. That was fucking dope. Love to everyone that came through.
It was a good turnout.
Great turnout. Great turnout. Like, I think we pretty much sold out.
Sold out. Yeah.
And great crowd. Everyone loved it. And shouts out to Manny and Biz, like hosting.
They killed it.
You know, absolutely killed it. So
yep.
Yeah, no, all love to everyone involved.
Perfect. Thunderbolts is a 2025.
Wait. Guys, how are you, man?
Oh, that's the solo role. Yeah, fair enough.
For sure.
Gotcha.
I'm honest. I'm shattered, man. Didn't sleep much, but yeah, no.
Out here partying.
No, I was at my boys. Got home at like 1, then couldn't sleep, and then was checking the basketball.
And John.
Yeah.
You see, his name is photo. What is it? Photo boy by.
Just photo boy.
Oh, it's just. Are you sure it's not by something?
No, but he's also known as HKNY because he's from Hackney.
I was gonna ask what that meant.
Oh, same guy. Okay, I know.
The jersey,
Yeah, jersey.
I was gonna ask what that meant.
Okay.
Yeah. I never knew that John and HKNY or whatever was the same person.
Same person.
Yeah, I genuinely thought it was two different people. So when I met him properly, I was like trying to figure out whether that's the same person without having to ask you, man. That, and then I figured it out because he posted something on the gram and I was like, all right, cool. I was there.
He's a good guy. Good guy.
Man. Super nice guy.
Well, Thunderbolts is a film that's crept up upon us quite suddenly because the year's kind of sped by in terms of film and TV.
Yes, sir.
It's not been a great year for film so far, but we had...
It's been a great month or so.
It's been a great month.
Yeah, we had Sinners, we had The Accountant 2, we had the Amateur.
We had Warfare.
So it's
Death by Unicorn.
I ain't seen that yet. But
Death by Unicorn is not great. I'll say
man.
that much.
Good.
But things are picking up. We're heading towards blockbuster season, and I guess you could argue Sinners was the opener for blockbuster season-ish. Thunderbolts is Thunderbolts is the follow-up for sure. It's a film that was promoted and stylized as like the Marvel's A24, which we'll get into for sure. But yeah, the film, directed by Jake Schreier, comes from a screenplay of Eric Pearson. He's quite well known for being one of Marvel's key writers and rewriter.
Okay.
Adapts the scripts. So So he wrote the first script, and then Joanna Callow, she kind of did another draft afterwards. And I'll get into her importance and Jake Schreier's importance, for me anyway, at least, maybe later on in the pod. The film stars Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Wyatt Russell, Lewis Pullman, but to name a few. Wendell Pierce is in the film as well. It's a really good cast as a whole. And follows a group of anti-heroes who are caught in a trap. To keep it simple before we get into spoilers, caught in a trap, and they have to find their way out of this situation and work together through their struggles.
Yeah.
In a simple premise. First thoughts on Thunderbolts. I'm going to throw the baton to Jason first.
Do it, man. Do it.
And then we'll go to Huss.
So first thoughts.
Thanks, Jace. All right. So what I was thinking.
This fucking guy, man. Like, so film as a whole, or just like initial?
Just your impressions, me.
Do you know what? Like, I think I liked it a lot for the most part. Like, I think it was really good. I think all of the actors are incredibly talented, especially like Florence Pugh and Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell.
I need an official apology from you, by the way. And shout out to Kiz, guys. Kiz, our obviously off-screen
Misinformation.
is not here today, all right? But he has sent a little message in for us to read out loud. Obviously, if you guys don't know, okay, Jace has been discrediting Florence Pugh's beauty and obviously talent across screen for 4 years.
Never talent.
You know,
never
and
talent.
So are they making up the lies about you with the
They
talent
are
pool?
making up lies. They are making.
And this is exactly what Jason said to Kizza, our producer, last night. He said, okay. Florence is good milk.
That's crazy.
Florence is good milk. Her in short hair and a weirdly bad Russian accent done a lot of work for me, and I'm gonna have to put my hands up and say my bad.
That is.
Does that sound like something you would say?
Well, I'll let the people figure that one out.
Right.
Would it sound like something that I would say? I don't think so.
And then when Kiss said, by the way, I want a public apology on the pod, he said, never in my life, the world will never know. So when
Man said he wants a public apology for someone that he's never met in his entire life.
That's what I'm saying. Like, make it make sense, guys. Okay? Make it make sense.
Did you say that Florence is good milk? Screenshot up right now. And here we are. Thanks.
What were your thoughts on the cast you mentioned?
No, I thought
Solid cast.
Solid cast.
Yeah,
I think
good cast.
like Florence Pugh, like I think she's always been super talented. I think she did way better in this role because I never seen her in the Black Widow film.
She was great.
I've never
she was
watched it.
really good in it. Yeah.
I never watched it.
She was also probably one of the best things about Hawkeye.
Oh, was she also in Hawkeye?
She was in Hawkeye, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Like, so I haven't seen it. So this was kind of like my first introduction to her as Helena, and I thought she was absolutely brilliant. Like, I think she carried all of the emotional work and stuff like that throughout the film, and she does it so well. But like, I also want to give a huge shout out to Wyatt Russell. I think him as kind of like that new Captain America, especially, you know, falling from grace and whatnot, he carries that so well. Like, even on his face, his facial expressions, like he's just such a classic dick. Like,
but we said this when we done the Captain America and Falcon review 2 years ago or something. But we said then he's so easy to dislike, right? Okay?
So easy
and
to
like
dislike.
it made the casting just so perfect, right? Because obviously in the comic books, that's the whole thing, right? He loves the fame, the attention, like everything. He's painted out to be this massive patriot.
He's the antithesis of what Captain America is meant to be.
Exactly, right? But then obviously there's like the reason why Cap is different, okay, is because internally, deep behind all of that, when you're actually challenged with a Captain America issue, he just doesn't have the mental capacity to handle that, right? And
he doesn't.
Yeah,
like,
because in simple sense, he's a human, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I think, do you know what? You raised such a great point. Like, because it really shows, because like with Captain America, right? He is like the perfect version of what you want an American patriot to be.
Facts.
You know, super good, justice above all and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, I can't remember his actual character's name.
John Walker.
He is somebody who grew up like, you know, like he references kind of like him being like a champion back in high school, like for his American
Yeah,
football team.
and obviously
Soldier as well.
Soldier as well.
He's a 3-time Medal of Honor winner as well.
Yeah, but like he puts so much emphasis on the things that he's achieved. Like he's like, guys, like as you said, like he wants the fame, he loves the fame, and it like him having that fall from grace, and you can see the struggle that he's grappling with.
It's because
like,
his grace was from being self-serving.
Yeah, exactly. And
like,
constant and still self-serving. Like, because he still sees himself as this, like, I should still, like, I don't know why the public is not accepting me because, like, I'm obviously the best Captain America. But obviously, like, that gets resolved later.
Like, for example, the Punisher would hate him, right? Because
1,000,000%.
Because he, even though they might have gone through the same wars and the same battles and the same trials and tribulations, okay, Punisher's like, well, I didn't do that for a fucking medal or X, Y, Z. Okay, I did it, okay, to protect like my family and my people. Whereas obviously it just looks for John that that's why that happened for him. You know what I'm saying? Like that was his goals. If I get these personal achievements, people will
like me.
Exactly.
Yeah, like his need for attention. But I think he like going back on Wyatt Russell. I think he the way he was able to display that was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, really good.
Like I think off screen as well, we were all talking about Sebastian Stan.
I love him, man.
Yeah, like
I don't think he did much in this film, which I
don't think he needed to.
Yeah, I also think strength-wise, I actually think if he showed too much of it, it would have made no sense. Okay, because bro, he knocked out fucking Cap, bro. Like deep it, fam. Like if he wanted to go full Hydra mode,
on who though?
Huh?
The person he was up against, the only person really, there was nothing he could have done.
Yeah, Sentry just took it, you know.
And
that was the moment I think people were like, sorry?
It's kind of like a pause, but continue.
Yeah, he took it deep. And then like
do you know what? It's my bad for drawing attention.
But like,
yeah, that was your fault.
But like at like that like moment, it was, I think that was like the MCU's or like Feige's moment, okay, of being like, all right, cool, that's how strong he is. Okay, that like, you know, where he's trying to hit him, but he's just doing this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like, I think you're right though. I don't think that there's anyone that he came up against that was a bit of a.
I think the purpose of him was to be like a where Florence Pugh's character Yelena Belova is more like a emotional glue and sort of thread for the characters in the film. He was a presence and a leader because of his past as being a member of a team, because he's done it before.
Yeah.
He's worked with Anthony Mackie's Cap, Sam Wilson. He's worked with Steve Rogers. He's worked with the Wakandans. So he's got knowledge and understanding of how to bring a team together.
It's true.
So whilst Florence Pugh's like the emotional glue, he's like the presence overall because he's been there, done that.
True.
And I think more importantly, for the sake of this film, he now carries a sort of like star presence that I don't think necessarily he would have had previously, just because his character wasn't necessarily. Although his character was great, the importance wasn't necessarily there. But because of his time in Hollywood and because of his understanding of how these big sort of machine-led films work, he knew how to make that big set piece that he had in the desert work.
100.
Because that could have easily been quite cheesy. We've seen it's cliched. We've seen that kind of scene before. Because it's him, he knows his character. He knows how these big action set pieces work. That scene was great. And it just and it wasn't necessary, but it was a great scene because of who he is and because he understands his character.
See what's interesting with that scene? Have you guys seen What If?
Stop watching it still.
I have not seen
I think season 2 there's an episode called The Winter Soldier and the Red Guardian, and there's a scene where the Red Guardian is driving through the desert with a thing, Bucky, and when you look at the shot, it looks exactly the same. Like it's so cool, right? And I think it was like a slight reference to it. Okay, do you know what I mean? Obviously, the difference being that, you know, Bucky's not in the car, and that kind of stuff. But like the interaction of Bucky and the Red Guardian in that was hilarious, and it was so kind of like, you know, it was bantery and like rude but like he's still having that same interaction with everybody in the car. Do you know what I mean? Just obviously not with Bucky, and then obviously he sees Bucky and goes, "The Winter Soldier!" And he's super gassed. So like I just think that was a really cool reference to, like, you know, like a situation that we've seen previously.
Yeah, I think the biggest compliment that I can pay to Thunderbolts as a film is it does quite a few things really well, and the first one being the fact that this is a film that's solely focused on the characters in this film and doesn't necessarily have due diligence or ties or a need to pull in other characters, other storylines.
Yeah.
It's solely focused on the emotional and mental struggles of these characters and how they're going to come out of their situation. And you can see that both in the storyline, you can see that visually, you can see that in the themes of the film. Whereas we've complained about this before, the previous MCU films feel like they're trying to juggle too much, or there's been so much sort of ripping up of stories, piecing stories together, making like 2 different films into one film. I think Cap 4 is the perfect example of that in a film. Whereas this film just feels like it was just acts 1, 2, 3, well pieced together. Even if there was reshoots, I couldn't really see it.
Yeah, not that I could tell. Like it was scaled back so well. Like I feel like they really did go back to the drawing board, and I think it goes back to a point that you might bring up later as well, so I won't harp on it too much, but in the sense of like, is it a case of like the studio caring enough about the franchise where they gave a lot of creative freedom towards kind of like the writers and whatnot, so they can sit here and explore characters?
I don't think so. There was a point that Gaz made earlier, which actually I'd love him to make now, but he was talking about how like he doesn't think that, like he thinks actually it was the complete opposite, like the fact that like the studio obviously wanted to put this out, but creatively or maybe even just like Marvel vision wise didn't see it as like an importance.
That's what I'm saying.
Until they saw it.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow, this is you've said it really. I think I don't think it was like a priority of when you've got their Phase 5 films and you rank the priorities in terms of like a Guardians 5, an Ant-Man, Doctor Strange is in Phase 5 or 4? Phase 5?
Phase 5, yeah.
I don't think that's like the highest priority for them in terms of a film. And what that has allowed, potentially, because this is all theoretical, is let them cook.
Yeah.
Let the director cook. Let the writers cook. And I think I'll get into the point later, but the team they assembled to make this film made perfect sense for the film they were making. But let's start with the emotion threadbare of the film, and the core is Florence Pugh's character, alongside Lewis Pullman's character, Bob Reynolds, aka Sentry. For me, if that relationship doesn't work, actually don't go there. If that relationship doesn't work, the film don't work.
For sure.
Because although all the other characters have their own emotional and mental struggles, I think the connection that those two make when they're in, I think it's before they get into the lift and they have to climb up together. That connection they make where she understands something about him and she understands he's got powers.
Yeah, he's got powers.
And he understands that she's been through turmoil as a child, which has made her who she is. That connection makes the film work as a whole. But what did you guys think of those two characters initially at that sort of first stages of the film?
You're absolutely right, and I think I said this previously, okay, but I think that Florence Pugh in general, across a lot of her roles, okay, is a fantastic scene partner. Okay, I think she really does well with like a 2-person scene, right? In Oppenheimer, she was fantastic in that. Okay, you know what I mean? Okay, in that obviously the very, very, very kind of close and intimate scene. Even in Dune, right? She's not in it much, right? But her pairings were fantastic, right?
Pairings, especially with
We Live in Time is a good example.
Oh, it's a great example.
Even Hawkeye.
But I was about to bring up Hawkeye, okay?
Guys,
like
Midsummer as well.
Yeah,
I've seen it. Like
So my last point was like in Hawkeye, obviously she links up with Kate Bishop, right? And even then, like she comes into her apartment and then she's so like casual and funny and smooth with it, okay, but also kind of like, I'm way more experienced than you. I'm like a widow. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, and I just think like her tone in those scenes across her career has been fantastic, and it just matched with obviously Bob / Century / Devoid, but like with him, okay, you know, nobody knew what he was, and I think she was the first person to clock that he didn't know what he was either. Do you know what I mean? Okay,
because he was talking to himself. I think that's when she realized.
Exactly, right. And then like when you know, and then when she obviously kind of, you know, went into her own hole, when you know very
into the void
stuff. Okay, and stuff. I think from then she realized there's an importance there, right? Whereas with what's his name?
John Walker.
When John went through that, he was like, oh damn, like something's up. Until later on, obviously, he clocks,
Yeah,
right? But in that moment, he didn't think about the empathy of what's happening with this person, whereas she did. Do you know what I mean? So even just for little touches before she communicated with Bob properly, was fantastic. Do you know what I mean? And I think like the character of Bob, obviously he was cast.
Stephen Yeun was cast first.
Stephen Yeun was cast first. Okay, who, by the way, he would have shelled it too, because he is cold.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, fantastic.
But I think his facial expressions, his timing,
The
like his
sort
speech
of
timing
innocence that he had initially
was really
was
good.
believable.
Yeah, it was so believable. Even I was like, what the fuck's going on?
So even when his character becomes Sentry, although I think the hill turn was ever so slightly faster than I would have liked, which is one of my more minor critiques of the film. It kind of like happens quite quickly.
Yeah.
But because I enjoyed the film as a whole, I was like, whatever. Although that hill turn happens fast, when he actually gets into Sentry Zone and he's fighting the other Thunderbolts, and he like, even when he like pushes Red Guardian out of the window, pulls him back, like I was like, fucking Red, that's Sentry.
Well,
That's Sentry. You're cold, like you're powerful. I believe you. But the power wasn't like, because he hadn't become the void version of the character. You could still feel the fact that there was a like innocence and a confusion and a searching for like purpose.
Yeah.
And he only finds his purpose at the end of the film when like Florence Pugh's character and the rest of the Thunderbolts kind of come together for him. I think Lewis Pullman was great. I would have liked to have seen Stephen Yeun, just like I would have liked to have seen Io Debris, just to see what it would have looked like.
Yeah.
But in terms of the film, they're probably, alongside Sebastian Stan, they're probably the two strongest aspects of the acting cast. I think they were great.
Apparently, obviously, like, you know, I'm taking this from Luca's TikTok, I believe it was, but apparently, like, Marvel tried doing a bunch of Stephen Yeun references, but this might be like a stretch, but they kept calling him all powerful, but then the last one was always invincible. And as we know, Stephen Yeun plays so it's like they kept saying, okay, because apparently like they were really upset to like not have him, and they still want to put him in a different role.
Because he's a great actor, man.
Yeah, and he only dropped out because
of Mickey 17.
The SAG writing stuff.
It was alongside Mickey 17 as well. Yeah. It was alongside that as well.
Yeah, so yeah, like I'm excited to see him in a future project. For sure, I think he's dope, but it was still casted fantastically, and I think people were so worried about Sentry not being done right. Okay, like Twitter was going off, bro. Like, oh, he's so powerful. What are the Thunderbolts are gonna do? And get me, and like I'm glad that the Thunderbolts couldn't do anything. That's the point, right? The point is that he's one of the most powerful characters, individual characters.
The only way to get through to him is through the emotional, and the emotional ties into the fact that he has mental health, and he's felt isolated his entire life. So, like some people will say, I've seen people before, like like for example, the example I would use that was done poorly was in Cap 4. When they're under the sort of the petals or whatever, and Red Hulk's angry, and then he's like, remember this, and it was just that trying to touch into the emotional side of an all-powerful character is great when executed well. I think that was a bad example, and I think this was a great example because it was layered throughout the film. Like that, the emotional and mental health tie was a constant theme. It wasn't like ushered in.
No, but it was literally the first line right from Florence Pugh. You know, that first line of like, you know, I don't know where I am. Do you know what I mean? Or like. Like she's like, you know, completely lost. So like,
like they have the question, they have the conversation where he's like, yo, like when you feel lonely or anything, how do you feel? And then she obviously jokingly says, like, at first, like, you just push it down, forget about it, move on.
Bro,
I mean, it's the, I guess, the emotional part, and it had to work well because it's the entire crux of the film, really. Yeah. Like, I feel like if you cannot translate the emotional part on screen, the film would not work at all.
It's at least the foundational part of the film.
Yeah, 100%. But that's the thing, though, isn't it? Yeah. Like, if the foundation don't work, then the film don't work.
Yeah.
What did you go on?
So sorry. Also, like another really good example of Gaz said he was about the all-powerful characters, and like, you know, if he gets them, okay, is Thanos, right? Okay, you know, we got the flashback scenes with Gamora. Okay, you know, we got the Soul Stone scenes too. Obviously with Thor as well. When he lost Asgard, do you know what I'm saying, and all of that, like there's a few times where Marvel have done it right, like really, really right, but there's equally an amount of times where they've got it completely wrong. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, sorry.
What did you guys make of the presence of CIA director Valentina Allegra de Fontaine,
I've got a strong opinion about that.
and the way the film used her as a sort of visionary of someone being all powerful or attempting to be all powerful, and using her, what would I call them? Her operatives,
Yeah.
in terms of Yelena, John Walker, Ghost, Taskmaster, sending them all to sort of take each other out. Do you think that worked as a sort of a way of uniting the four, which becomes three, in the film?
I don't know. I think, do you know what? Yeah, I think it's okay because it's like we need to have a plot device that drives the film. You know, like how we get here. I think if we were talking about as a character as a whole, I would probably argue that she might be the worst aspect of it, in my opinion. Where, like, I don't know. Throughout the entire film, I just felt like, okay, you are just here to drive the plot. I didn't necessarily believe her as a character in that universe as much as I did like the rest of the main cast, if that makes sense.
Do you know, I hear what you're saying. I think for me, I don't know if Marvel did this on purpose. I don't think you guys think that they did, but to be fair, I don't know if I do, right?
I don't think she's meant to matter.
Right. So
No,
like,
I agree,
but don't forget though, she was in that 2-3 post-credit scenes, as in like prior to this, okay? You know, like she was in the post.
She's a connective thread.
Yes, but she was also in.
But you would want them to at least be kind of like believable as a character.
Yeah.
Because like they tried to make her kind of like when she touches. When she touches Sentry, and then we get to see a vision of her past. And
I actually like that.
I did as well, because I thought it was like, oh, okay.
I found out a bit more about you.
Find out a little bit more about her, but then kind of like maybe I just.
Do you think you want to know more about her?
I don't think I want to know more about her, but I just thought that De Fontaine's portrayal, I guess, and that might just be like an issue that I'm taking up with the actress herself. I didn't think was very good. That's all.
I just think the way that Marvel introduced her, I liked the fact that there wasn't like a big deal made about her. She was obviously in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Okay, do you know what I mean? And you know, we find out that she dated agent. I forgot his name.
Played by Martin Freeman.
Yeah, I forgot his name. That's so bad. We're kids, man.
Concepts up.
Yeah, but yeah. So also him. We see her recruit John Walker at the end of Captain America and Winter Soldier. Okay, we see her recruit Yelena at the end of Black Widow.
Oh, right? Everett Ross.
Everett Ross. Okay,
Ross,
yeah, and we see her obviously in Black Panther, kind of trying to like weave her way into government. So all of the layers were there to introduce her back again, obviously, into the mainstream of what Thunderbolts was, you know. And so we always knew there was an intention there of like leadership or maybe of like a conniving type scheme. I do think in the post-credit scene she was made to seem a little bit more dubious and a little bit more intimidating, or just like smarter in things that.
Not this one
in all the other post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
She was only
okay.
yeah.
I thought I missed an on.
Yeah. And obviously in Captain America and Winter Soldier, she was so elusive. She wasn't as like talkative or combative. But obviously she's doing the whole like public eye thing now, right? So she's a lot more like smiley and but it was a very different character to what we saw. That's why I think, I don't know if Marvel meant to do it, but when she was introduced into this film, it was a lot more soft launch, which I actually appreciate because I didn't need to know too much about her.
No, I do agree.
To enjoy everything. Okay, I loved Mel. Like I really liked Mel. I didn't like how quickly she turned into a
good person and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's like.
Again, was she ever like a bad person,
or
she was just working for bad people?
She was just working for bad people.
Yeah, but she then
and she fancied Bucky.
Yes, but when
there was a lot of like underlying like sexual chemistry
we need to explore that
between Bucky and her.
Yes, but then she then after she gets questions with loyalty, she then kills Sentry.
That's right.
Yeah, but she killed Sentry because it was like shit. Like we low-key have to murk him.
Someone has to stop him because he's all powerful.
Yeah, all powerful.
But then she goes off with what's her name, Valentina.
But I like the thing. I think you bring up a good point, which is why I'm not so sure on Valentina as a whole, right? Because it's like to your point, like Mel, who turned so quickly, is one of those things where it's just like, okay, you've been with Valentina for at least a year, right? And you've known what she's been doing because she's your right-hand person, right? Why are you having a moment of conflict at that moment? Because she'd been doing human experiments and you knew that people died.
Well, they killed, like, I think she said, right, they shut down like 12 sites or something like that. Bro, they deaded everyone off, fam.
They deaded everyone off, and Mel knew that. But it felt like one of the things of like, okay, like I understand that this is a film and the film needs to have a plot and kind of drive the plot. But again, it just didn't feel like super believable.
Do you think the impeachment worked in terms of the plot of her being impeached and her activities sort of being looked at by Wendell Pierce's character?
Only because
Wendell Pierce is great.
It's
of course,
facts. Only because it motivated Bucky, right? Bucky needed a direct
reason to
go to the Thunderbolts and whatever.
100%,
right?
yeah.
He needed that. I think that's the only. There's no other thing that was fucking needed for that, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, like that's the only way you could have got them in the same room together. It's the only way. Okay,
how else would you introduce Bucky to meet the Thunderbolts if she wasn't
right?
kind of like getting invested?
Also, bro, you could arguably say that in Captain America 4, right? You can say that Bucky being introduced as the congressman there, or that he's running, okay, and that kind of stuff, was the most confusing thing ever. Because at that point, okay, why would any American person vote for a guy that has killed a president? By the way, he killed
he killed the King of Wakanda.
He killed JFK, but we find out in a flashback in Captain America and Winter Soldier. Okay, he kills Howard Stark, right? He kills the King of bro. He done, and that's just 3 highlight people. There's still hundreds more that he finessed. Right?
I do think that just kind of. I know it sounds crazy to say because it's not comparative, but look at the world we kind of live in.
Yeah.
I know it's when you compare it to like, I know when you just put in the fear of superheroes, it's like people live in New York that keeps getting attacked every other week. It's like you kind of have to let some things of plausibility and believability. I don't think he needed to be a congressman in any sphere of Marvel for his character.
So then what would, if you had to be right, okay, obviously it's not your job in that, okay, but like off the top of your head, right, okay, how would you have tied Valentina to Buck to the Thunderbolts? Because it's difficult. It's so difficult.
I think the impeachment was perfect, as you guys were saying, but you could just then be an agent who is doing the investigation.
But he was an agent in Captain America and Winter Soldier. His whole motivation in that series was, I'm going to
keep him as an agent. Why make him a congressman?
Because his whole thing, he had this list of people that are like benefiting from super soldiers, or they're benefiting from or some old Hydra operatives and blah blah blah. People that have like ruined like his life, right? So then he was like, I'm gonna go and take people off this list just to save everybody. Okay, do you know what I mean? Okay, blah blah blah. So like once that purpose was kind of done, right? I guess Marvel's take was, let's give him a human purpose, like through like a justice system, very kind of like a Daredevil type thing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's like put him through a like path that this can be done. But as he changes his motives very quickly. Do you know what I'm saying? But I guess in the MCU it's not quickly, because if you look at the timeline, because I searched this, the timeline between Cap and then this film and then Daredevil, it all happens in a year, around 18 months, right? Okay, so then technically, okay, like he could have changed a lot in that time. Do you know what I'm saying? So I get it for like the wider aspect. For the film aspect, I thought it was really quickly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
One of the supporting characters and actors is David Harbour's Red Guardian, who I think serves really 2 great purposes, or even 3. Interested to know your thoughts. I think he serves the purpose of being a father figure for the Thunderbolts.
Good point.
Providing us with comic relief.
Yeah.
Which could have easily gone wrong for his character, because that can easily come off as quite corny and cheesy, but it works. Even Yelena's accent works, even though it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Their accents work, and 3, the sort of emotional ties of their relationship, which ties back to Black Widow, the film that came out in 2021, I believe. it ties into their relationship from back then till now. Red Guardian's presence, did it work for you guys in the film, and why if it did, and why not if it didn't?
No, 100%. I think like I'm just gonna echo a lot of your thoughts here. I thought like his comedic timing and whatnot. Like I did think.
Is there a scene that stands out to you for his comedic timing as well?
When he keeps
the car scene was great. When he was
car
driving
scene
it, it
was
was
great,
like
where he's
beep beep
like,
beep, and he's like, Helena, don't go inside.
no,
It's like,
bro,
brother, it's already
so
done.
funny. Yeah, no, that's such a perfect scene.
That's my type of comedy. That's very Michael Scott.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
and
mean?
then also like when he's in the car and they're trying to get away and he's like flicking the things.
Yeah.
And then like he brings down the party ball and everything like that, and he throws in the Molotov. The Molotov does nothing.
Yeah,
Like, I think
yeah.
he was like, it's great visual comedy. I think David Harbour is a funny guy when he wants to be. Like even when you watch interviews of him, the way he interacts with.
Seems super chill, man.
Yeah, super chill guy.
You see the guy that divorced Lily Allen?
Lily Allen.
I think he's too old for her, man. David Harbour's an old man.
Yeah, David Harbour's an old guy.
Bro, if I Google this right now, kids.
Man said kids.
David Harbour is an old guy. That's
Yeah, I don't.
Brody,
I can't
if I'm
imagine
right,
in
okay.
What world they even be together?
Yeah, no, I can't see that.
What? Say nothing.
But I thought it was great.
Yeah, but while you're searching that, yeah, but with David Harbour as Red Guardian as well, like I think the accent. I think
What?
That's her husband.
Is
so.
it?
They're married.
They're married, yeah.
That's crazy.
They're married. I watched an architectural digest of their house tour.
What?
And he was...
What's their ages?
he, my friend,
He
is
must be like 60.
50.
How old is Lily Allen now?
Lily Allen, my
Late
friend,
30s?
is 40.
And how old is he?
50.
50.
Oh, that's not
But
terrible.
It's not the
apparently
worst.
they
It's not the
divorced this year.
And they've been married for how long?
Like 5-6 years, something like that.
That's a good
Okay,
stretch.
that's
Yeah,
not
they-
bad.
they
That's
tried
not
their
bad.
best.
Yeah.
At 35 at that point, okay.
They tried to make it work.
But guys,
They
like
tried
I
to
promise you, yeah, like I watched their thingy, their house tour. He was, like I said, he was hilarious. Like he's
guy.
got character. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's like
And it works
he's
so
good.
well. It works so well with Red Guardian as well.
And his relationship with Florence Pugh.
relationship
Oh.
with Florence Pugh as well. Like, because again,
I love
like,
that she was mad at him.
like
I think like a lot of the time in the MCU we don't get real emotional
Emotions.
family anger. Do you get me?
which will probably tie into kind of like we haven't mentioned it yet, but it goes back to the writing and specifically what they worked on and why I think it translated so well. So the writer, I can't remember her name.
So we have, excuse me, obviously, firstly, we'll start with Jake Schreier. He's the director.
Yep.
Love him, man. Well, starting to love him.
Yeah, he worked on, he did a video for Kendrick Lamar, We Cry. But more importantly, he worked on a hit series for Netflix in 2023 called Beef, which I loved. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And that series ties into sort of carrying emotional baggage, anger, pain, but also using comedy as a form of sort of like compartmentalizing that pain and like as a mask, as a defense mechanism, which I think this film does, which I think Beef does, which I think human beings tend to do. I mean, I
Which
do it.
Red Guardian does 100%.
Yeah, and I think that ties into their relationship. Then you have Joanna Callow, who worked on BoJack Horseman, again another series that dives into sort of mental health and dealing with your emotions on a daily basis and how we as humans cope with our emotions. And obviously the pod's favourite show for the most part, or one of our favourite shows, is The Bear, which again she is a writer for. And I think she does a great job of bringing those different elements of those shows. And it seems like a theme of her writing and the team's writing of emotions, human beings, feelings, mental health, and tying those things into this film. And considering most of their work is TV based, they've done a great job of bringing that to like a bigger scale in one of the biggest films of the year, especially for like a Marvel project. So I think they did a great
100%.
job. Is there anything you wanted to sort of add on from that? Because obviously that was your initial.
I mean, I think that's pretty much perfectly said, because it's like with the scene where you have like that big kind of like emotional scene between Red Guardian and Yelena, and is it Helena or Yelena? Yelena, and like how she talks about him and she's like, yo, you've been gone missing for a year, like I needed kind of like you there, I needed my father figure and stuff like that. And the emotional kind of like baggage, not even just the emotional, I guess the emotional baggage. And then even like Red Guardian's retort back to it, he was just like, yeah, like, do you know what, I fucked up, my bad, but I don't know how to grapple with this.
But I love the scene that starts the film, or at the beginning at least.
Open
anyway,
monologue.
Open
monologue was fantastic, bro.
That scene.
That she's like.
But when she visits him and he's like dossing that up, he's drinking beer and eating food, and as soon as she arrives, he jumps out of his seat. He tries to clean his apartment.
That's really
Which
funny.
goes to show he was also in yearning of. He was lonely.
Of course, 100%.
He was in yearning of parenthood, of that father-daughter
to be in her
relationship,
life and stuff.
wanting her. As soon as she was there, he like completely tried to alter his. What would have been her perception of him, and even when she sees the place, she's kind of she just knows that.
Yeah, she just knows.
She knows who
like
it is.
she knows who he's.
Yeah. I like that way that was.
You know,
integrated.
I was saying, Lena was the heartbeat of this film. Okay, like
100%.
like I genuinely think like that opening scene where she was on the top of the building and she falls and she's talking about how she was going through it, okay, and she thought it was just grief from her sister passing away. Do you know what I mean? Okay, and actually she's like she's realizing that actually no, it's more to do with her and like what her purpose is and like what she wants to do. None of it was tied to Avengers. It wasn't tied to aliens. It wasn't tied to anything. But what I loved about it, okay, was that it was tied to what all of us go through. She even as simple as like a job change. Like she asked Fantino, okay, can I come into the public eye more? Meaning, can I be like an agent or
can I be like a front face
rather than an operative or black agent?
That's just a job change. We've all done that, bro. Do you know what I mean? Okay, like we've all thought, all right, cool. Maybe I don't want to do this anymore, but can I do it here? Would it make me happier, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, she was actively trying to figure herself out before going to the depths of like what she wants to, or sorry, the bad part, right? And then the contrast with her and Bob was that she was at least putting things into work where she thought it could help her or heal her, whereas he was giving up.
Yeah,
right?
like I think that's kind of like whoa. Such was perfectly put, really, like on that, how the differences between the two, where like Yelena tried to keep going, like she feels that void, but she's trying to find something to fill that, or like at the very least forget about it. And then you see in the beginning of a monologue as well, at the start of the film, she's putting herself into work in hopes of forgetting this empty feeling. And I would probably disagree with you slightly at the beginning, because I would say like the catalyst started because of her sister's passing. She started to realize,
but it continued.
Yeah, it continued and spiraled into a whole thing of like, oh, like actually me losing my sister and the grief that I'm going through, and like you could tell that her sister was so much of the emotional weight for her. Like she was happy enough happy, or found purpose in life when she was alive, but when she was gone, all of a sudden it's like, shit, what do I do now? I've lost a person, my dad, who has kind of like disappeared for a year as well, even though I needed him and stuff like that. And you can really tell, and again, I think it speaks to the strength of Florence Pugh's skill, like throughout the scene, like the way she was just able to portray that and then just kind of like showcase that to us, that was so like, good. Shit, she was going through it. And then
so good.
There was two scenes in the film that remind me of like The Bear, and it was the first one was when they were all brought together by Val, and they were sort of set up to kill each other, and it reminded me of like that sort of like chaos of the kitchen where all the Carmi's fighting Richie and Io's character as well, and Tina, like remember the season 1 episode 7 review episode where they're all fighting in the kitchen, and kind of as well as the scene at the end, towards the end of the start of the third act, where Florence Pugh's character's sort of lashing out at the different members of the Thunderbolts.
Oh yeah,
she's all pointing
out
she's pointing out all their different flaws, and it kind of reminded me of that, like that, just letting everything out because you've been holding it in for so long. But Florence Pugh, arguably front and center, one of like the flagship faces of the Marvel Cinematic Universe now.
Moment, yeah.
Like obviously you've got Robert Downey naturally, but I think like she's a pull for audiences now. Like,
well, that's the thing. Is she now just Black Widow?
I would hope
she's got her own sort of.
Yeah, I would hope she would, like, and I'm being, because I feel like Disney and the MCU have a lot of power in the sense of like how they want characters to be perceived, and I hope they don't put her in that Black Widow box, because Black Widow,
well, she is a widow.
No, of course she is kind of like, I guess in the sense that like she is the only non-powered person in that sense who is kind of like through that same program that Black Widow came through. But I want her to be more than just Black Widow. I want her to be kind of like a little bit more front and center, like, especially because if we're talking about like the later MCU, especially within Infinity War and stuff like that, I would argue, like, I feel like her importance, and I'm talking about Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, her importance kind of like dwindled a little bit to the point where she like...
But she was key in like Endgame.
She was key in Endgame in the sense that like we need to give her something because we've neglected her for this long.
Because she should have had her own film.
She should have had her own film, and they gave her begrudgingly.
I mean, I look back on it.
film.
Black Widow was it wasn't as like way people spoke about.
I
Black
don't
Widow.
think it was bad. You know,
I don't know.
I enjoyed
like
the film.
I've never seen it, so I won't say that.
I just think it came out at a bad time.
I will say like
Yeah,
at
it
the
was
time that it
earlier,
came
wasn't it?
out, and then you look at the arguments and discussions that they had around it, it just felt like this felt like a film that they just gave to Scarlett Johansson begrudgingly because they did not
Contractually, they had to.
contractually and it just feels like they never really cared about Black Widow as much as they should have.
Well, she only signed the contract, her extension at the time, 2015 or 2000, whatever it was, okay, because they told her that she was gonna get one. In that contract, right?
Yeah.
So then it got to the end of that contract and they hadn't given her one yet.
That's what I'm saying. So like that
she
Black
could
Widow
have sued
film
and
should have
got
come
millions.
way before.
Well, she actually
She
did.
actually did sue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she did.
She did,
But-
and she
For
won
different
that.
reasons.
and she won. Yeah, she won. But like that's the thing as well. Okay, well, I think.
And they gave her, I think, producer credits or director credits for a project comment. Yeah.
But like you see, Black Widow. Okay, if you watch it in MCU timeline, obviously it makes a lot more sense, right? Because obviously it's supposed to be after Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is. And then
Which should have been the actual perfect place to put it after Civil War.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
exactly. And I actually think if they did do it after Civil War, they would have had slight changes as well. But because they shot it whilst shooting in Infinity War, right? It tied more to obviously Infinity War and Endgame, and you know what I'm saying, that kind of stuff, because obviously they made the end of it a lot more emotional and blah blah blah. But it should have, if it was shot back then, I think the tone of the film and the hype that was around Team Cap and Team Iron Man would have made the film blow. Do you know what I'm saying?
It made the film blow, and I think Black Widow as a character would have just felt a lot more important.
Yeah, facts.
And like I feel like, especially then, in my opinion, it would matter a lot more her sacrifice in Endgame.
Yeah.
Like I feel like her sacrifice would matter a lot more. Like I just feel like in Endgame they gave her the sacrificial role to be like, okay, cool, we can make you the martyr here, but also we don't really have many plans for you, so we're just gonna dead you off.
I heard.
Yeah.
Question for you guys. From a technical perspective, I want to know your thoughts on the film's sort of pacing, the directing, and the visuals.
I want to go first because I've been waiting to get into that section. So I think visually, I think the film is, especially like throughout the muted colors and whatnot, I think it played so well. It
was nice grade.
The themes of the film.
Yeah.
I like how they displayed the Void's powers, like on screen, the way they like to show somebody who's so fucking all powerful, like to just make you vanish like that. I just felt like, oh my god, like he is actually as threatening as he seems. And the way they silhouetted him, where it's like you can barely see his eyes,
But just fucking beautiful.
you can barely
That was
see him.
beautiful.
And that
Colour.
was so
Bro, it was
beautiful.
stunning,
That
bro.
was so
Colour,
beautiful.
loved it.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And then
Dark Superman. Kind of gave Dark
it gave
Superman.
Dark Superman, like, and you could feel like it was Dark Superman.
Even when he was in the air, and then as you said, even in the air, the fact that he wasn't clear, right?
So
But he
clear. It was so hard.
so ominous.
100%.
Brilliant.
And then the one thing I want to talk about is the action, especially the frantic action in the
bunker.
bunker.
Yeah,
I thought that action scene was so good. Like
You know, with the top shot. There was a scene, okay, where basically she was fighting through the corridor, right? And
oh my god, yes, oh my god. And then like, and this is where I feel like I am wrong, but I want to say this is an homage to Old Boy.
Old Boy, yeah.
So I did feel that. So I was right. Yeah.
I read the same thing. That obviously the have you seen Old Boy?
Fantastic.
Josh Brolin, bro. You should definitely watch it.
Don't watch the Josh Brolin one. There's a original version.
There's the OG version, but watch the Josh Brolin version too. Okay, but
watch both, to be fair. But
like, there's this incredible scene, okay, where it's like a one-shot take here of like a fight scene from like a window scene, okay, where it's like this, right, and it just goes like that. So they mimic that, right, but done it.
Yeah, they done it kind of like from a bird's eye view, which they done in the original one as well. Like,
Oh, did they?
The original one was like bird's eye view, and it was kind of like from an alley shot, if that makes sense. You could just see him fighting through, but. Fantastic fight scene, like you could see it through like Yelena's skill. And I just thought like there was another one that was a little bit later on with when they were fighting Sentry when they were fighting Sentry, and I feel like Bucky, there was like an homage to the whole like back in not Civil War, maybe it was Civil War, no, Captain America Winter Soldier, where you know when Bucky's fighting the Winter Soldier, right, and he's
on the bridge,
and he punches him, drops the knife, and then tries to do the thing. He tried to do the same thing against Sentry, and Sentry like
that scene I kind of like Bucky. What you doing, bro?
But he tried to do the same.
I was like, Bucky,
and then like I was just like, but I just like seeing that in the sense.
No, I enjoyed the scene.
I enjoyed the scene in the sense where it's just like, oh, like this is obviously a very trained soldier, and you could tell like the way he fights is routined, and to have him still have
it's who he is as a character.
He is his same MO from what we seen a decade ago. I just thought that was very well done, and whether it was done on purpose or not, I don't give a shit.
No, it definitely was
very good, kind of like visual storytelling of.
I think even the way the action scenes were shot, the first act where they're all fighting together, and then we see obviously I think John Walker tries to take out Yelena, then Ghost comes in. Although it was like superhero cliche, I can predict what's gonna happen next. Someone else is gonna come in. The scenes themselves were shot very well. They were very like small scale, very much focused on the individuals in those fight scenes, which felt dedicated to their skill sets as characters, and it was all hand-to-hand combat stuff that was just captured and shot really sharply, which I think was done really well and portrayed really well on screen.
No, 100%. I think the fights in general, like they did
it well.
Good job. Even when like, and I think like it's super hard to portray fight scenes against like a superhuman. I think one thing that I think is key to mention is in the Justice League when all of the heroes are fighting Superman. Right, and like to portray a fight against a superhuman, they've done a lot of slow-mo action work where in Thunderbolts they did the opposite. They were fighting in real time, but you could see how quick Sentry is, and the way like the camera kind of like just pans around a little bit with how everyone's trying to get a hit in and stuff like that. And then I think, I'm not sure if you mentioned it on here or off screen earlier, the way he kind of like chucks
Red Guardian and pulls him back in.
Red Guardian out, pulls him back in while the other characters, like obviously they've been knocked away, and then they're trying to stand up and get, like, I just thought, like,
which speaks to his power, but also speaks to the human that's still there, because he could have just left him out.
He could have just left him there, because I thought he was going to drop him. On my life, I thought he was going to drop him, but like he was just like, I actually don't need to kill them because these guys are insignificant to me.
Well, he didn't want to harm them.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't think he wanted to harm them. Not like at first he was like, I don't want to harm you because like I actually like you guys. But I think as the fight went on, I think he was realizing that he's like, I'm actually invincible. So you guys.
And that speaks to the scene with Val when he's like, I'm a god.
Yeah, I'm a god. Like, why do I care?
I don't know. Why do I need to take all this?
By the way, that was almost like fans were talking. I was so happy, because you know how many times, okay, like in superhero same stuff, okay, their like main henchman is like some powerful guy, and then you think, why are you doing this for this brother?
Yeah.
Is he holding your dad somewhere, fam? Like what the hell's going on, bro? Do you know what I'm saying? Go beef. Just tell him, you might shut up and just headbutt him. Do you know, like that happens in every superhero series or film.
They always
or anything.
have this number two who's like you
more,
should actually be the number one.
Yeah, facts, bro. Like, but, they're just not as smart.
He was like, you said I'm like 4.
Yeah, and like.
So
you're saying I'm better than them, so it's like, of course, like it makes sense.
But just to touch on the visual stuff as well, okay. Even the fight scene that we spoke about with Yelena in the alleyway, okay, it was shot right in and all of the I guess the army or operatives that were fighting her, they were all
in the first act.
Yeah.
When they've escaped.
When they're escaping from the bunker.
Yes.
Good, really good scene.
Yeah, love that scene, right? And then I don't know if you clocked, okay, but like I saw an interview with Jake, and he was talking about, okay, that scene was definitely a foreshadowing scene. The fact that it was shot like that, okay, and when you see it from a bird's eye view, okay, all of the army people are in black, right? It's all like shadow. It was to show like that the darkness to come, right? Do you know what I mean? Okay, I thought that was fucking genius, bro. Like little.
Fair enough. Like
and that she's fighting the darkness.
I think also importantly with that scene, she tells him to get behind her.
Yeah.
And then when you look back at the scene later on when they're in the void and he's looking back at his childhood, and his father's kind of mocking him for not protecting his mother, and he thinks he can protect his mother. Who are you to try and protect her?
Yeah.
She's the only person that showed him protection, Yelena, is essentially, from what we know, the only person that's either showed him love, affection, or protection.
Yeah,
And I think that's part of why he, in the end, gives in and returns back to being Bob
Also,
Reynolds.
that scene was when she broke out and then she kind of ran across and was doing the flips through the stuff. I thought that was a really good like superhero scene. Just like in regards to if they don't have powers or whatever it is, okay. But that's probably the maximum.
It subverts the big third act fight scene where it has to be
like
drag
at the end of the day-
Shang-Chi fighting a dragon.
Exactly,
Yeah.
It was nice to see her, which is weird to even say, but to see her going through tables and also
It's a creative risk because that could have but it worked.
It could have gone.
it could have been so corny. It could have been so corny, man. Do you know what I mean? Okay, but I actually think the finesse of it was super nice, man. Do you know what I'm saying? And obviously, like she gets there and just hugs him. Do you know, like there was.
Because he's never been shown affection.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah. And
But it made sense.
it made so much sense,
could have
bro.
gone, like, I
Could have
think
been corny.
It could have been so corny because it's one of those things where it's just like, I think it was great for the film, but like, I'll say this much: I wouldn't begrudge anybody who would then say like this felt anticlimactic to me. But I think the fact that it was anticlimactic was a little bit the point. Where it was just
Bro,
like,
that's the thing, bro. It's like we're
as
so
you said,
tired
Shang-Chi
of.
fighting the dragon or whatever.
Bro, look, we had a massive ending at Captain America 4, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, we had a whole Red Hulk, right? And arguably, you can say that should have come a lot earlier so we can just deal with that more and not have this, like, crazy, big fucking ending, okay? But like this, I'm so glad, okay, that we had an ending, okay, that just made that just made sense for what the story was.
Yeah.
I'm more happy with that than just having like a massive finale.
Big fight
Yeah.
finale.
It's
CGI fight fest.
facts, bro.
Oh yeah, when we spoke about the visuals, the fact it was shot on location,
Oh, really good, man.
the scene with them in the desert looks great.
Oh, beautiful.
Even the on-set scenes look real tangible. You can feel like they're living in an actual place. They're
The
fighting in
outfits as
actual.
well. The outfits weren't CGI-ish. Okay,
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? Okay,
like
stuff.
if-
That's really awesome too, bro. Like it looked like calm. Do
And
what I'm
you
saying?
know what? It sounds like we're glazing the film and like it's an 8, 9 out of 10. But no, it's just a really good, like for me anyway. We'll get into scores later. Like a good, solid Marvel film
Yeah.
with so much to talk about.
Yeah.
That's how which I think works.
Absolutely solid.
I just want to say it's about the history of the Thunderbolts here, right? Okay, like I think the original concept was like 1977, 1978. I could be wrong, but I believe it's then, right? And the original Thunderbolts, okay, were 5 or 4 members who, by the way, have never had screen time in the MCU yet. But I don't remember their names. But it was like crazy names like Miro or something. I don't know, just like random powers, right? Okay, and that kind of stuff. And they actually started, okay, because the villain called Onslaught kills the Avengers, right? Seemingly kills them, okay? And then obviously, they take over. They then become like famous. They save people, etc. And over time, all right, do you find out that they're actually all working and part of like Zemo's master plan, and it's a mad kind of like Shield Hydra twist. You know what I mean? Okay, you go, oh no, those are the bad guys, blah blah blah. Do you know what I'm saying? Then the Avengers come back again to kind of like fight Zemo, and then the theory of the Thunderbolts is born because then not all of them, but most of them then turn on Zemo, and because they've been doing good, they're like, hey, I
actually want to be good.
Exactly that, right? So then the theory of like the anti-hero group is now born, okay? What I love about the Thunderbolts here is in comic books, right, across the years, they've had many different teams, okay? There's only one version of this where Red Guardian, Yelena, Winter Soldier, and not Ghost, someone else, okay, is a Taskmaster, right? Okay, is part of his crew. So that's the only comic book. But what I love about this film, what the Thunderbolt stands for has always been the same. Okay, it's always been the same. It's always that they are kind of like the rejects and the losers, and when I say like losers, not like not powerful, just losers because they've lost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? They've lost at whatever battle they were in or fought in or blah, blah, blah. Not so much like Suicide Squad, okay? Suicide Squad was more that they got pills in their heads.
And then there were
and
like
they get shot
clear
down.
villains as well.
Yes, but they're being forced to do good, right? So that's the theory there. I loved that Marvel stuck with that and didn't say, you know what, let's kind of make this a Thunderbolts thing, which you've seen across obviously the MCU. Every time they try to do something, okay, sometimes they'll change it so far from the comics, okay, that it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Now, I didn't need the same characters, but they done very much what like a Guardians done, right? Where Guardians, those 6 people or 5 people, sorry, were never in a comic together. Okay, like obviously pre-Guardians 1, right? But the theory of Guardians makes sense. Yeah, it was there, and I think that's why this worked, because the principle of who the Thunderbolts are was there.
New Avengers and post-credit scene, thoughts?
Love the meaning of it.
Yeah, I love the meaning. I thought it was funny. Like,
do you think these guys can have another film of their own as the New Avengers, and would you watch it?
I would watch it. Do I think they have it from? I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, I think would you
prefer them as Thunderbolts still?
I would prefer them as Thunderbolts because I feel like the Avengers, I don't know. I don't want them to be the new Avengers because of like the iconic status that the original Avengers have created.
I hear you. Yeah. I hear you. And I feel like you'll know my question coming up. Do you feel like then it should have just been called the New Avengers from the start? Because would that, I think Thunderbolts is set to have 50 to 85 mil, right, over the weekend, which is good. Okay,
that's amazing.
But every Avengers film has done over 100 mil. Okay, so would in theory,
yeah.
Do you think that the common consumer, not us, man, the common consumer who's more than an MCU fan, right, would pay a ticket because they see Avengers on the title?
No, if they're more than an MCU fan, when you say more than an MCU fan, do you mean like they watch other films other than the MCU?
No. I'd say don't adhere to us guys who are film fanatics. I'm talking about the general and casual viewer.
I think the general and casual viewer would. I don't know. I don't think they would.
What?
I don't think they would.
Stats say they do. Mo Salah, fam.
If they saw the new Avengers and see who they are, I just think the Avengers themselves are so iconic at this point, and it's more like, let's be real, like if we're thinking Avengers, we're thinking RDJ, Chris Hemsworth.
No, I hear you.
And then I see the new Avengers. I'm just thinking, allow it, man. Give them their own identity. So I'm glad that they stuck with Thunderbolts. I don't want them to then morph into the new Avengers.
But the new Avengers is a thing though in the comic books.
I understand that. And it will change universally. I just don't want, which is. It's not going to make any sense at all, because it's like if they change into the New Avengers, the film has to be called the New Avengers.
Well, I think that the Young Avengers, that they're building up, right? Kate Bishop, Kamala Khan, Love, who's Thor's daughter,
and isn't
Ironheart, and someone else. Oh my god! But yeah, sorry,
Hulk's son. Brother, Hulk's son.
I don't know,
man. Okay.
No, I'll be real. I have no idea.
He's in
that Samoan guy, yeah. No. But like, I think they are gonna eventually become the new Avengers. Okay, I think that these men were just put in as a placeholder for Doomsday. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think post Doomsday, okay, they're not gonna matter. Like in regards to the MCU.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think that post Doomsday, the new Avengers would be the Young Avengers. Yeah.
Which I guess I don't mind that. Like, I don't mind the idea of the passing of the torch. I just don't want the Thunderbolts to be the new Avengers, because I feel like the Thunderbolts.
It puts a lot of pressure on the need for them to have like an extra like gravitas and pull.
They're not.
Yeah, 100%.
Even like power wise, they're not powerful enough.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's just so much smart on them. But I think like, because Huss makes the point about like, they are the new Avengers because the comics, they are in the new Avengers. Yeah. So I just don't know.
Well, they're gonna return. Apparently, so.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
we'll see. Aside from Doomsday and potentially sequels, it'll be interesting to see if it's further capacity away from that. Especially because I think Florence Pugh, you don't want to lose that. You want to keep her around.
No, I think she stays.
You want to keep Sebastian Stan for as long until he's 90, if you can.
Oh, for sure.
David Harbour's great. You don't want to lose him either. So those three alone, and I think Wyatt Russell, as a grounded character, and actor, shall I say, for John Walker.
Guys, come on.
Works.
Guys, come on.
What?
Come on.
You want gone?
No, I'm just saying. Wyatt Russell and Red Guardian, they're gonna die. Let's be real.
Oh, they might do. And what I'm saying is,
but like,
come off.
What I'm
Marvel
saying
needs to kill off characters.
No, what I'm saying.
At this point.
But
They're
they're
not
that,
killing them off. They're not killing them off.
But-
losing those wouldn't impact. It wouldn't impact
No,
me
it
if
wouldn't
I lost
impact
them.
me in the long run. But like, I want them to be.
I'd actually rather see them than lose them.
Yeah.
I'd actually rather see them in another
I would
film,
want them
I
to
hate
give like.
it,
Yeah.
but aren't they the easy option?
but they're not important enough for me to care.
So when you're saying that,
Easy
so you're saying that
Let's be real.
creatively they
Guys,
shouldn't because
let's be
it's not
real.
going to make
This
the
is
same
the easy
impact.
It doesn't have an impact
Good.
compared to what we saw in the first Infinity War. That
But if Red Guardian does it impact Yelena and then impact us?
100%. If it's impacting Yelena,
look at you. Post credit scene. What do you guys think of it?
it was a good post-credit scene. I think for me, what worked as well is because like I literally watched the Fantastic Four trailer before, like during the film, or during the cinema screening, and I haven't seen it before because I wanted to avoid it. But seeing what's kind of like to come, and then seeing the post-credit scene made me so much more excited for the Fantastic Four film.
Yeah,
So
man.
100% worked for me. 100%.
Yeah. Also, like like the history of like Avengers Tower was like really cool. Do you know what I mean? Okay, like I like we didn't like mention earlier, but the mirroring of Valentina walking down and pouring a drink. Obviously, how Tony Stark did it with Loki.
with Loki.
Okay,
Yeah.
really cool, man. Like
Great callback.
it's super cool callback there. But yeah, sorry. But back to my point. Like the fact that they're at like Avengers Tower, right? And then I don't know if you guys know this, right? But she calls it the Watchtower. Okay, towards the middle of the film when they're like rebuilding. She's like, let's rebuild the Watchtower. What's hilarious is that the Watchtower in the comic books is Century's
Like HQ.
like HQ, right?
Okay.
Now, in an alternate kind of like thing, timeline, okay, Century hides his Watchtower, and so you can't see it in the New York skyline. It's just like invisible. But he's so powerful that he's in it, but you can't see anything, right? And then Tony Stark builds his new Stark Tower, and then once the illusion was like done, or things Century dies, or whatever happens, they find out that the Watchtower is on top of Stark's Tower this whole time. Yeah. So,
Oh, shit.
and then the Watchtower is controlled by like a Jarvis type AI. I think it's called Omniverse or something like that. But
Yeah.
okay, all right. And that AI is basically like designed to catch global threats. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the reason why I say all of this is to say that in the PCS scene, Florence Pugh, she's talking to an iPad.
Oh, and you think she's talking to?
She's talking to the AI and says, "Yo, can you check for intergalactic
Like
threats, blah, blah, blah." And then Bucky says, "Ask him for da-da-da-da-da," which tells me that she's talking to a fucking AI, right? And then they show her, obviously, they'll say the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I think like they're setting this up, right, to be like, to be like, Sentry's gonna have a massive role to play moving forward. Okay, and I think that if anybody is going to die in Doomsday, that's going to be like super important. I actually think it might be a Captain Marvel and Sentry. I think both of them being hugely powerful characters has a way bigger statement. Okay, do you know what I mean? But they're setting up the world around Sentry and Fantastic Four really, really well. Okay, so that PCS scene for me and the context that I knew, I thought that from the moment the scene started all the way to then, I thought that was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I have a few problems with that scene and a few other scenes. Okay. But they are Marvel lore continuity problems. There's a lot of things. I went back, I've done some research, I found out the timeline of
I've consulted the experts.
Bro, I found out the timeline. Obviously, she walks in and says that how Sam Wilson is now he's now copywriting the
Avengers. I thought it was
the Avengers name.
I think it was more for the comedic effect.
But cool. But at the end of Cap 4, he goes off to make and recruit his new Avengers. His
own team.
His own team, right? He's had obviously, guys, if I'm wrong, correct me, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Okay, he's had around a year, a year and a half, okay, in the MC timeline to recruit people for his team, right? Why haven't you got a team yet?
Racism.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. They're saying, actually, I went for him.
for black
Actually, I went for
Black
him.
America.
Right? But like,
They've
why?
completely buoyed Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
They have,
Now
they have.
he's being accused of copyright.
No, it's the.
Oh, he had
other way
to
around.
get his copyright back. After
Yeah.
he's the leader of he's Captain America.
Yeah.
Racism, man.
But like that's the thing though. Okay,
Racism.
like that for me, okay, was like what's he been doing, right? In his time. Now, Daredevil happens in the same year as Thunderbolts, according to the MCU, right? Wilson Fisk's whole thing was fuck the vigilantes, but I had all of them running around like doing exploits in his city. Do you get me? So there is a few Marvel continuity issues, right? And you go, obviously, I understand that Wilson Fisk copyright can't be in films. Okay,
Yeah.
So they can't even put a poster of him up there. I get it. Okay, I get it. But brother, give me some Daredevil spiel. Do you get me? Okay,
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Because the thing is, right? They've already done it with Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah.
So it's like we know that he exists in this world.
Yeah.
Why can't you do X, Y, Z now to make it make sense?
For me personally, I was like, there's a few things that just didn't make sense for me in the film. But again, like with superhero films, okay, do we keep turning a blind eye, right? But those things, like for example, when everybody got taken off, okay, to the void. Wait, guys, did you watch this in a packed cinema?
It was busy-ish, busy enough.
Mine was sold out.
But I think my next screening after looked like it was going to be quite busy.
Oh, mine was sold out.
Yeah, like
right?
I watched mine on the last viewing of the day, so
Alright,
I
cool.
reckon like the.
I was like 8:30, right?
Yeah, I think
sold out, right? Cool. When that little girl went into a shadow, did everyone scream? My whole cinema went.
It was surprising.
It
Bro, it was
surprising.
breathtaking,
The way-
honestly.
Because I think
It was more of-
murked, I thought, because even I was like, oh,
It was refreshing.
No.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think
It's dark to say it was refreshing.
and
Yeah.
maybe this is just recency bias. I genuinely think that was one of the most powerful 3-second scenes in the Marvel history. Bro, I think it was so surprising. Okay, people if they didn't think it'd be that easy because at that point, okay, we thought that the void was death, right? We didn't know it was like a deep darker thing, right? Okay, obviously we knew for him, but we didn't know for people, wouldn't it? Okay?
Yeah, we didn't know that he was able to just stare at people and then
And just go,
kind of, like, dead them off.
right?
Right. I thought it was the thing of like the shadow has to touch you.
Yeah.
It has to
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
really zero
So
in.
keeping that in mind, bro. In the last scene, okay, where Vantina's like, "Oh guys, no, let's all be friends," and then she walks through, and when the press are there, I was fuming because it's like, wait a minute, brother just voided up the whole city, right? When did you have time to get the press?
But they don't remember they don't 100% remember it.
But no, but time, right? If it was 30 seconds to like 2 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
When did you have time to
to
get
bring the
press
whole press
down and do that? It doesn't make sense, bro. Okay, do you know what I mean? And like what did they conveniently hide in the corner? Every fucking job. It doesn't make sense, bro. Okay?
Yeah, I guess.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, we have to do a bit of heavy lifting in terms of suspending our disbelief there,
Yeah, facts.
or suspending. Our
Also,
belief, I should say.
also, you had 5 people in fucking costume, outside the old Avengers Tower, and you are a New Yorker who's gone through bare hero shit in the past like 20 years.
They should get they should get money taken off whatever rent they pay. They should get like 50% off whatever rent they have to pay.
But then why is Yelena and Red Guardian, a bright red suit by the way, okay, why are they running around arguing in New York City, yeah, and no one's batting an eyelid? No one's doing this. Oh,
But I
shit.
think because it's, as you said, like
Superheroes
because
might be just-
superheroes are. a
Oh, I
common
hear
thing.
you. I hear you. But surely, if you lived there and you see that, and they're outside Avengers Tower, you'd go, something bad will happen, you know? And you
but,
fucking
like,
dip.
I feel like-
Or
but I
show
feel
me.
I
like
think
you'll make
suspension of belief is kind of necessary.
Yeah, I think-
I think it's a valid thing because I saw that same scene where they were arguing on the street. I saw people walk past. I did think, but
That being said, though, I do think it's a thing of like because superheroes are such a common thing now, right?
Don't
These
do
men
that.
are looking
It's
the
New
way-
York.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
The way they even like when the first action scene came in, where they drove into the building. Obviously, people ran away, right? But then, like when the action scene stops and then Valentina's like, "Guys, I let the door open. Like, you can come through." Like even behind us, right? You got people in cars, not even looking in. Like you can see them still driving,
Yeah.
and it feels like to me that whether it's the intention or not. I hope it was. It's a thing of like, because superheroes have become such a common thing, they do not react the same
But
way.
Daredevil would have done it so well. Like every time there was like a superhero on the street, every time it was on the news or whatever it was, they had the BB reporting thing, right? Okay, do you know what I mean? Okay, and it showed like the social street aspect of like what's going on. Do you know what I mean? It had people doing this. All I needed, okay, from that scene, okay, was a couple of niggas, okay, just going, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's all I needed.
Okay.
All I needed.
enough.
Okay, do you
Fair
know what I mean? But this is just like small gripes. You get me?
Questions.
Yo.
Task for you, Huss.
Talk to me.
Can you name
Yes.
12 MCU films
Oh my god.
that Samuel L. Jackson has appeared in?
Films.
And films and shows. That's a good point. Let me just double check that for you. I'm gonna add. Don't look away. I'm gonna add
you're
it.
asking him.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna add a series to that, and I'm gonna give you a minute.
Okay, cool. Let me know when I can start.
But you're asking him.
No, I don't know why I reacted. It was
Yeah,
it was like what's instinct. It was instinct to just like, no, you can't see, piece of shit.
I reckon.
3
I'll do the timer.
Wait. Shows and things, yeah?
shows and films.
Cool.
Jason's gonna set up the timer.
A minute we're giving him, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Avengers 1. He wasn't Civil War. He wasn't Civil War.
You say he was or wasn't?
He was not.
Okay, so how many have you named? 3 so far?
3.
Yep.
Age of Ultron, Secret Invasion, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, The Marvels. That's 8. Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, 10. Winter Soldier.
Good.
That's 11. One more.
And time's a ticking.
One more.
Sorry, altogether it's 13 projects, by the way.
God damn it. Oh my god.
Second warning.
How much?
10 seconds.
Ah shit.
5.
Thor 2. No, Thor 1, sorry. Thor 1. Damn it.
Time's up.
One more left, man.
Cool, I'll read them out for you. Iron Man 2,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
2011, Captain America, the First Avenger,
Yeah. I didn't say that one.
The Avengers, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, The Marvels, and Secret Invasion.
I literally was one away.
Yeah, one away.
Jason,
Okay.
over to you. This is half, I'm sorry.
Ah,
Horse, I need a timer from you, play.
Sir.
I'm gonna get cooked.
Go ahead, my boy.
Jason, your task is to name the 11 Marvel projects that Sebastian Stan has featured in.
Okay.
You have a minute. 3, 2, 1, go. Horse, can you count the
Sure. Yeah.
amount he gets as well?
Cool.
Go.
Yeah. Winter Soldier, Black Panther. Then we got
The first one.
Infinity War, Endgame, 114. Fucking hell, shit. Obviously, Thunderbolts if we're counting this one.
Wait, Black Panther, which one? Sorry.
Oh, Black Panther 1.
Yep.
One for sure. Yeah.
PCS scene.
Are we counting PCS?
Yeah.
Surely. Okay, cool. Then also BP2 as well. No. Black Panther 2.
You tell me. I'm not telling you.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Fuck. Now I'm testing my knowledge here. Fuck.
You're missing bears, bro.
I am missing bears. Fuck. Civil War.
Yep.
Yeah, I already said Infinity War. I said Endgame. Fuck. Oh my god.
He was in 2 this year, by the way.
Huh?
He was in 2 this year.
Fuck. 2 this year. Oh shit.
He was in Captain America this year.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
7.
7.
That's 7, my boy.
Do you know what?
So-
I'll take 7.
I need to double check your Black Panther because according to IMDb, you are wrong.
Oh.
But he was in the post credit, no?
According to IMDb, you are wrong. So I'm gonna read out the list we've got here. Yeah.
Okay.
IMDb. Captain America: The First Avenger. You got that?
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, naturally. Ant-Man.
No, I didn't get the first Avenger. That's my bad.
Ant-Man.
I did not get the first Avenger. I'll take that one.
That's
back.
bad.
That is
That's
very
his first film.
First film.
Yeah,
As Bucky as well.
Yeah,
Sergeant Barnes.
He's in Ant-Man, which I forgot actually. Captain America: Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, Brave New World, Avengers: Endgame, Captain America: Brave New. Why is that here twice? Weird. Thunderbolts and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So he did all right.
Yeah, I did okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was. According to IMDb, he's not in Black Panther.
Okay, guys, should we do you then? Huh? Should we do all the films that Iron Man has?
I mean, I could do that for one of you guys if you wanted to.
That's too many.
I've read it already.
I'll have you.
Was there someone coming in?
It was no. It's because they want me to go and tell the electrician where to put the light on.
We can maybe squeeze in one more game.
Let's do it.
Not a game per se. Huss, you are going to finish this one up for us. You're going to rank the Phase 5 movies. So, Jason, can you get a list of the films whilst I read them out? And Huss is going to rank them after.
Yes, sir. So, Marvel Phase 5. And we're just doing films, yeah?
Just if you could type them out, that'd be great.
5 films.
And Huss is going to give them a ranking.
Okay. So, Phase 5, we have got...
How many is there?
1, 2, 3,
2, 3,
4,
Where
5,
you going?
6 films for Phase 5.
Cool. I can see him now. All right, cool. I'm going to go with number 6. I'm going to go with The Marvels. I don't think it's a bad film, but it's not the best out of the bunch. Okay, even though I know people hate that film. Okay, but cool.
Wait, 6 is what?
The Marvels.
The Marvels, okay.
Yeah, and then I am gonna go with Captain America: Brave New World. Not a bad film. Again, just not the best of the bunch. I thought it was written not fantastically, but I obviously do like seeing Sam as Cap, which is good. Then I'm gonna go with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Obviously,
Ahead of Cap.
the inclusion of Kang and the multiversal element was dope as hell. But obviously, the movie doesn't really mean much anymore. Obviously, with the exclusion of Kang. But if I'm going off individual films, I think it was the best out of those 3 so far. And then after that, I am going with
Top 3.
Yeah, I'm going with Deadpool and Wolverine. Solid, like really good film as an intro for Ryan in the MCU. I need to feed Deadpool in the MCU, and it was dope. Obviously, the comeback of Logan. Number 2, I am going with Thunderbolts. Solid film, absolutely solid film. Obviously, we just had a whole episode about it, so yeah, really good. It brought kind of like a grounded yet superhero appeal back to Marvel. It felt kind of like Civil War-ish, man. Okay, do you know what I mean? Okay, like Civil War, yeah. So it was like super nice. And then obviously, I'm gonna end it with Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Interesting.
I thought it was a beautiful close off.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I thought it was a beautiful close off to a widely successful franchise. But yeah, dope film.
This was a return to form for Marvel. Whether they're able to not necessarily recreate Thunderbolts, but recreate the formula that made Thunderbolts an enjoyable film will be interesting.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Phase 2.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Where each film has its own visual and thematic identity, as well as a genre, if you like.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be very interesting if they can return to that. Fantastic Four is set to be like a period piece, which will be really interesting. Whether that's visually and thematically present will be another conversation to have in a month and a half or so.
Yeah.
But a really good film. Give ratings.
7.5 out of 10.
I'm gonna go 8 on the dot.
3.5 on Letterboxd.
I'm going to go with like a 7.2, like an early 7, just an early 7. Good film. I enjoyed it a lot. There's a lot to enjoy about the film. I don't actually have many issues with it, but the reason I give it 7 just because I don't think the characters are yet at a point where I have enough emotional investment to like compare to like what I had with Cap or Iron Man.
Yeah.
But I do think
That's not necessarily their fault.
Yeah,
'cause
that's a
it's the
time
first
thing.
film. Yeah, it's a
I
time thing.
do think it was conceptually one of the best MCU films we've got in recent time. Okay, I think.
That's just not even a question.
Yeah.
Post Credit Scene Podcast, a 14 HQ original. Lovers of film, TV, and theatre. This
The MCU is back. Kizza, use this as a start. The MCU is back.
I know that's going to be the episode title, and I know none of us have a say. in
Mate.
that. It could be back. Who knows? We'll see. Make sure to drop a like, share, subscribe. Make sure to comment on videos to let us know how you're feeling about the episodes, what you're looking from us in the future. Some episode suggestions could be good as well. If you guys have like something you think we should dive into, a particular theme, a particular genre of TV or film,
Let us know.
let us know in the comments. You can comment on Spotify as well, which would be really cool. We're going to start chaptering our YouTubes as well, which is quite interesting.
We have started.
Been beaten to the gun.
Yeah.
We have started chaptering YouTube, so you can pick out particular sections if you want. You can start clipping them on your Twitter. Look at us getting fans. And yeah, make sure to follow us on the socials as well. TikTok's always booming. Make sure to follow us on the IGs. IG's moving very well as well. YouTube Shorts, etc. Trying to deliver some really interesting and insightful content. Basola's back, Josh, in like 2 weeks' time. So that's your present to you. We're going to be diving into some Mission Impossible soon, which will be quite fun. Ahead of Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Tom Cruise's final film. We've got an episode with a friend of the show coming back soon, Ore, which will be really fun. So yeah, make sure to check out our recent content, and that's us out, over and out.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Lads, I have to zoom.
Cool.
My mum is flying in a couple hours back to Uganda.
Nice.
So yeah, I have to zoom.
No worries.
I would love to have been
Hi, I'm Lashana Lynch, and you are listening to the Post Credit Scene podcast.